A permanent fix to a leaking sewer pipe in Green Township is still nowhere in sight. But the county is trying to push a temporary fix while an agreement is in the works. But like the entire issue itself, the county and MSD disagree that a temporary fix can happen. Our Marielle Carbone reports.
Day after day, raw sewage is still leaking into Muddy Creek.
Why don't we just do it? I mean, people are suffering. They're smelling that nasty stuff, and it's in their yard.
Commissioner Sumero Dumas is talking about a temporary fix, while the county and MSD look for a compromise on finding a permanent solution.
Do the thing.
But MSD says a temporary fix isn't possible. In a letter sent Monday to City Councilman Greg Landsman, MSD said a temporary measure is not appropriate. Writing the sewer has deteriorated to the point that it is structurally unsound, making meaningful repairs impossible. The agency also said that it wouldn't solve the problem. To that, the commissioner says,
well, that's what temporary means, that we're trying to fix it.
We think there just might be a misunderstanding on the types of repairs that are needed.
The county team disagrees and says a temporary fix is possible, taking steps to fix gaping holes in the pipe and keeping it from leaking.
With a combination of concrete, some wire mesh, some wire fabric to go around those openings and seal them up.
County Commissioner Denise Driehaus is pushing for this to happen.
We need to do something in the meantime, because even if we were to come up with a resolution tomorrow, it's going to take some time to build a new pipe.
And plans to present a resolution Thursday directing MSD on how to proceed.
This commission wants to resolve the issue.
Reporting downtown, Marielle Carbone, WCPO 9 News.
The Convention and Visitors Bureau is making a grand gesture in honor of former Hamilton County Commissioner. The CVB announced that the Convention Center's Grand Ballroom will be renamed in Todd Portun's honor. This year, the CVB is now creating its event schedule without having a Convention Center hotel now that the Millennium Hotel is closed. President Julie Calvert says this does not present a challenge, but instead an opportunity to host more smaller conventions all at once.
You know it's going to be a challenge to get those big, huge citywides where one big convention fills the whole city. But if we can take 2 or 3 and make that up, I don't see I think that's a win-win.
Cincinnati will also be the host city for the National Coalition of Black Meeting Professionals 2020 annual convention. That is scheduled for November. In total, the CVB has booked more than 200 meetings and conventions for this year, expecting to bring more than 225,000 attendees with an estimated $75 million in visitor spending.
All right, the Bengals season ended with the worst record in football, right? Their reward, the #1 pick in the NFL draft that's coming. Keenan Singleton is on the scene in Indianapolis right now for a closer look at Joe Burrow and the combine itself.
Hey guys, I'm here in Indianapolis at the NFL Scouting Combine, and you may be asking yourself, just what is the Combine? Well, think about this. Take all the best parts of football, the weekly drama, the high stakes, the action, and all the athleticism, and strip them all away. Maybe that's why they also call the Combine the Underwear Olympics. The Cincinnati Bengals are one of the best 32 teams in all of pro football. They want Joe Burrow, and it sounds like Joe Burrow just may want them back. But I'm here to ask the national media just why they're telling Joe to say no to the Bengals. Here's what I found.
Hello. Hello, Joe, and welcome to the circus. And hello to you too, Mike Florio, the ringmaster behind Pro Football Talk and the drama surrounding Burrow.
The question I got for you that everyone back home wants to know is, why do you hate Cincinnati so much?
I don't hate Cincinnati.
I'll play whoever for whoever drafts me,
I mean, it doesn't sound like the most ringing endorsement, but he is on record, so I'm going to show up.
Andrew Siciliano showed up with the NFL Network, but I didn't show enough to get Joe's attention. The stories did, however, get Zach Taylor's.
Off-season news stories, people have to have something to talk about and write about.
Is it all just hot air?
So the people in Cincinnati can exhale, is what you're saying.
Do they exhale in Cincinnati? Because there's been a whole lot of inhale in there for a couple decades. But yes.
Steve Wyche has seen it all covering the league for decades. Maybe he's seen too much.
You can watch a 21-year-old guy in spandex run outside linebacker drills, and it can make your day, Keenan.
Do you really enjoy the underwear part, the Underwear Olympics part? It sounds like you might enjoy it a little bit. I'm just teasing.
You know what? You can go back to Cincinnati on that one. I'm on to Baltimore.
As for Florio, the man in the eye of the storm, he's looking out for guys like me.
You know, if local sports personalities weren't trying to stir crap up, maybe it wouldn't be an issue. But I won't be ordering chili. I'll just say that anywhere I go in Cincinnati.
It was a long day, enough to make a guy want to slip into his underwear and call it a night. At the Combine in Indianapolis, Keenan Singleton, WCPO 9 Sports.
I guess ultimately we'll just have to wait until draft day.
And you hear him diss our chili?
I know. Don't diss our city.
No, exactly.
Go on to Baltimore, whichever rock you came from. All right. Life or death, straight ahead. That's how important the move over law is to people working on our roads.
Think about if it's one of your family members. You want your family to come home safe every single day.
Ahead at 5, their message to drivers after several recent crashes.
Nearly 7 months before the deadline to get the real ID, folks in northern Kentucky have nowhere close to get one. We'll tell you what you need to know before that deadline.
Dreary evening around the tri-state, but we're talking about more rain for the morning and some snow by tomorrow night, and then really frigid temperatures in the 7-day. Lots to tell you on the other side of the break.
Do you have your real ID yet? In just about 7 months' time, you're going to need one if you don't have a passport to board a plane.
While some folks are preparing to get one, people in northern Kentucky do not have a local office open yet to get one. 9 News reporter Raven Richard tells us one northern Kentucky woman's concern.
Cold Spring woman I talked to wants to know when she'll be able to get her real ID locally instead of having to travel a long way to get one.
I think it's going to spiral out of control in some states. I really do.
Justine O'Brien is one of many in northern Kentucky trying to get their real ID. She's been trying since 2019.
I am extremely frustrated.
If you don't have a passport, then you'll have to get a real ID by October 1st in order to board a plane. In January, only 27% of Americans got their real ID, according to TSA.
There's going to be an uptick in foot traffic, so for folks to anticipate longer lines when they come in to get a real ID.
The Kentucky Transportation Cabinet is leading the real ID effort. Right now, northern Kentucky residents will have to drive to Frankfort to get one.
And that's a long drive, so I'd either have to take my husband with me, or I would have to pay probably a couple of $100 to find a caregiver to come in and sit with him while I go down and take care of my ID.
So what's being done?
We have it in our plans to open an office in Florence, Kentucky to better serve the northern Kentucky region.
There's no set location in Florence, but we do know they plan to open it in early summer. In the meantime,
there are a lot of people who have passports or passport cards, so they can continue to use that as a means to fly domestically.
So for now, northern Kentucky residents will either have to use their passport, drive a little ways to get that real ID, or wait until the summer for it to be closer to home. Raven Richard, WCPO 9 News.
ODOT is reminding drivers to slow down in work areas after one of its workers was hurt in a crash. Around 1 a.m. last Friday, officials say a semi hit an ODOT vehicle while a crew was working on the side of I-75 just past the Hopple Street exit. With peak construction season approaching, ODOT wants drivers to remember to move over one lane or slow down when passing vehicles with flashing lights on the side of the road.
Think about if it's one of your family members. You want your family to come home safe every single day. At the end of the day, everybody just wants to go home, and we want them to go home healthy and safe, and they shouldn't have to worry about that when they're out there working, just doing their job.
Violating the move over law comes with a fine between $300 and $1,000. FC Cincinnati unveiled new renderings for one of 2 new garages to service its new West End Stadium and the surrounding area. Just north of the Major League Soccer team's new stadium, the 5-story North Garage on John Street will feature about 830 parking spots. The concept design also will show a large West End sign on the garage's northwest corner. Team leaders presented plans to the Board of Commissioners asking for $2.9 million for the project.
You know, I realize